Thank you, Kathy Hohenadel, for playing that beautiful rendition of I Know That My Redeemer Liveth. We welcome the family and the friends of Lowell Detweiler, Joyce Owens, Ruth Gamber, Jack Raybold, and Janet Garman to this service of remembrance. I am Chaplain Ann Weaver. During this time, we give thanks for the lives of these residents, and we also express our condolences to the family and the friends gathered here in West Bethany Chapel or watching online. As we begin, I want to read a poem, a prayer. It's called For Grief by John O'Donohue. When you lose someone you love, your life becomes strange. The ground beneath you becomes fragile. Your thoughts make your eyes unsure. And some dead echo drags your voice down, where words have no confidence, and your heart has grown heavy with loss. And though this loss has wounded others too, no one knows what has been taken from you. When the silence of absence deepens, flickers of guilt kindle regret for all that was left unsaid or undone. There are days when you awake happy, again inside the fullness of life, until the moment breaks and you are thrown back onto the black tide of loss. Days when you have your heart back, you are able to function well, until in the middle of work or encounter, suddenly, with no warning, you are ambushed by grief. It becomes hard to trust yourself. All you can depend on now is that sorrow will remain faithful to itself. More than you, it knows its way and will find the right time to pull and pull the rope of grief until that coiled hill of tears has reduced to its last drop. Gradually, you will learn acquaintance with the invisible form of your departed. And when the work of grief is done, the wound of loss will heal, and you will have learned to wean your eyes from that gap in the air and be able to enter the hearth in your soul where your loved one has awaited your return all the time. I invite Jim Miller to come and sing, "Cast Thy Burdens Upon the Lord."
Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He never will suffer the righteous to fall. He is at thy right hand. Thy mercy, Lord, is great and far above Thy mercy, Lord, is great and far above the heavens. Let none be made ashamed that wait upon thee.
I am Chaplain Kathy Miles. Let us remember our loved ones. Lowell Detweiler died at Landis Homes on March 1st at the age of 88. Born to Orrin and Nettie Miller Detweiler, Lowell spent his younger years in Fairview, Michigan. He was educated as a teacher with a bachelor's degree from Goshen College, Indiana, and a master's degree from Tuskegee Institute, Alabama. He taught for 12 years, including Mennonite Central Committee service assignments in Newfoundland, Canada, and Tanzania, East Africa. In 1957, he married Ruth Kaufman from West Liberty, Ohio. From 1959 to 1961, Ruth and Lowell taught in a two-room school in a rural fishing village in Newfoundland. They returned to live in West Liberty, and 2 children joined them. When Cheryl was 6 and Steve was 3, they moved to Tanzania for 3 years, serving with the MCC Teachers Abroad program. In addition to teaching, they enjoyed East African safaris during vacations, and Lowell climbed Mount Kilimanjaro during one Christmas break. In 1971, he and his family returned to Akron to work at the Mennonite Central Committee headquarters. Lowell found purpose working in the Human Resource Department, where over many years he had opportunity to invite hundreds of others to meaningful Christian service around the world. This provided opportunities to travel and visit MCC workers in many other countries. The family attended Akron Mennonite Church, where Lowell held numerous positions. In 1986, Lowell was invited to become director of Mennonite Disaster Service. Leading this exciting network of volunteers in disaster response efforts became the focus of the next 12 years, with projects in most states in the U.S. and provinces of Canada. At the invitation of MCC, Lowell also traveled to assist in setting up earthquake response programs in Japan and Armenia. He often shared how the gratitude of hundreds of disaster survivors and the deep connections within the widespread Anabaptist volunteer network left his cup overflowing. Lowell gave thanks to Ruth and the family for accepting his many absences from home. In 1998, Lowell stepped down from MDS leadership to gather stories and write a book about the first 50 years of Mennonite disaster service. The resulting book, The Hammer Rings Hope, was the culmination of a life of service and a reminder that we all can bring hope to many through service to others. In the years since his first retirement, Lowell had many roles in volunteer projects at MCC, MDS, the Ephrata Reuse It stores, and at Landis Homes, where they moved in 2011. Lowell and his family loved travel, especially broadening the world of granddaughter Maria with special summer trips. Lowell is survived by his daughter Cheryl and her husband Brent Kaufman, son Steve and his wife Barbara Perry. His living siblings include brothers John Luetta and Rule Joy, and numerous nieces and nephews. In addition to his wife, he was preceded in death by an infant son, Douglas Keith, his parents, several siblings, and their spouses. A memorial service will be held at 11:00 a.m. on Saturday, May 3rd at Akron Mennonite Church with family visitation before and after the service. We remember Lowell Detweiler and all who love him.
Joyce D. Owens, age 88, passed away on March 1 at Landis Homes. Joyce was born on February 3, 1937 in Scranton to the late Dean and Louise Will. She was the widow of the late Richard Owens, whom she married in Wilmington, Delaware in 1956. Joyce volunteered with the United Services Organization during the Korean War. Over the years, she worked as an administrative assistant at Philadelphia College of Pharmacy, a real estate agent, a florist, a unit secretary at Flagler Hospital in St. Augustine, Florida, and a hostess at a Chinese restaurant. For many years, Joyce enjoyed camping and hiking with her husband and family throughout the United States and was constantly awed by the diverse natural beauty of this country. She and Richard moved to beautiful St. Augustine in 1984. Joyce spent her last 2.5 years at Landis Homes, where she was very active, participating in water aerobics, line dancing, and drumming. She was known as the Puzzle Lady, as she loved solving puzzles as well as organizing and ensuring there were plenty of puzzles available to all. Joyce was blessed with 4 much-loved children: daughter Karen Brock and her husband Reese, daughter Ann Green and her husband Dave, son Kenneth Owens and his wife Karen, and son David Owens and his wife Colleen, 6 wonderful grandchildren and 4 precious great-grandchildren. Services were private and interment was at Indiantown Gap National Cemetery in Annville, Pennsylvania. We remember Joyce Owens and all who love her.
Ruth Whistler Gamber, 91, went to be with the Lord on March 4th at Landis Homes. Born in Mount Joy Township, she was the daughter of the late Jonas and Elsie Greiner Whistler. She was the wife of the late Arthur Gamber. Ruth spent the early part of her life in the Elizabethtown area, during which time she was employed by Continental Press for 16 years. She was active in the Elizabethtown Mennonite Church, where she taught Sunday school, Vacation Bible School, and was involved with various programs. In 1982, she married Arthur Gamber and moved to Leola. She was a member of Nessville Mennonite Church, where she continued her church involvement. She worked at Lancaster Labs for almost 28 years. She volunteered at the Mennonite Historical Society, was involved with the Mennonite Home Auxiliary and the Lancaster Conference Junior Girls activities. Ruth had many hobbies throughout her lifetime and enjoyed making many friends as a vendor at flea markets. She is survived by 5 stepchildren: Joanne and her husband Richard Markley, Emma Jean and her husband Leonard Fitzmaurice, Geraldine and her husband David Charles, Dale and his wife Phyllis Gamber, and Darlene, wife of the late Dennis Fenstermacher, and her partner Peter Omaggio, 10 step-grandchildren, 17 step-great-grandchildren, and 7 nieces and nephews. She was also preceded in death by 4 siblings: Nora Ziegler, Suey Whistler, Amos Whistler, and Mabel Swanger, and a nephew, Gerald Joyce Whistler of Elizabethtown. A memorial service was held on Saturday, March 8th at West Bethany Chapel at Landis Homes. Private interment was in Elizabethtown Mennonite Cemetery. The family received guests at Landis Homes during a luncheon immediately following the service. We remember Ruth Gamber and all who love her.
Jack H. Raybould, 91, of Ephrata, passed away on March 9 at Landis Homes. Born in Ephrata, he was the son of the late Henry and Alma Barr Raybould. He was the husband of the late Arlene Hockman Raybould, with whom he shared 72 years of marriage. Jack was a United States Air Force veteran, having served on the Pusan West Air Base in the 95th Bomb Squadron, working on the B-26 Invader during the Korean War. He was an auto mechanic by trade and the owner-operator of Raybould Foreign Car, Incorporated in Ephrata, specializing in Volkswagen and Porsche. He enjoyed many activities, including riding motorcycles, ATVs, and snowmobiles, skiing, tennis, and pickleball. However, his biggest love was motor racing. Jack's racing career spanned over 50 years, competing in both open-wheel and closed-wheel cars on dirt, asphalt, and ice. He drove modified and production Volkswagens and Porsches, micro midgets, three-quarter midgets, sprint cars, mini stocks, Formula Vs, Formula Super Vs, and Formula 440s. His fascination with racing began right after high school when he ran his first race in a Ford Flathead coupe. He developed an interest in micro midgets and became a founding member of the Lanco Micro Midget Club. When he bought his first Porsche, he began a very successful hill climb career, routinely placing first or second in his class. In 1965, he earned his national sports car license for road racing and consistently finished in the top spots in his Porsche. In 1966, he began racing midgets and excelled in both winged and wingless midgets, winning many events. In 1968, he achieved success chauffeuring a VW mini stock at Hershey Speedway and was named champion that year. Jack kept his skills sharp, competing in ice racing and indoor three-quarter midget races in the off-season. In the 1970s, he drove his favorite car, a Porsche 911, participating in road races and endurance races in between weekends of midget dirt track racing. Later, he gave Formula cars a try, competing in Formula V and Formula Super V events on the East Coast. He closed out his career in the 1990s with Formula 440, some vintage road racing, and sprint cars. And I learned so much about this career from Jack. Jack is survived by a daughter, Lisa, wife of Michael Klein, a son, Michael of Ephrata, and a granddaughter, Brittany Klein. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death by his wife, Arlene, his sister, Phyllis Raybould Demi, and his brother, Gene Raybould. Interment will be private at the convenience of the family. We remember Jack Raybould and all who love him.
Janet H. Garman, 93, died peacefully on March 12th at Landis Homes. Born in Lancaster on August 26, 1931, Janet was the daughter of the late Landis and Emma Cayley Hill. She was preceded in death by her loving husband of 63 years, Claire Garman, in 2015. Janet graduated from J.P. McCaskey High School in 1949. She was a meticulous bookkeeper who worked for Steinman Stations, Kroll Electric Company, and the Humane League of Lancaster County. Janet was an avid reader, loved cats, enjoyed spending time with her family, and enjoyed watching the Phillies. Janet was a member of Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Lancaster since 1956, where she sang in the choir, taught Sunday school, and served as a tour guide providing details of the church's rich history to visitors. Janet was also a member of the Landis Valley Associates for over 50 years and served as a tour guide at the Landis Valley Farm Museum. She also served as membership coordinator during the museum's Summer Institute programs. Janet is survived by her son, Robert Garman, and his wife, Shelley, daughter-in-law, Catherine Garman, sister, Nancy Hill, 2 granddaughters, and 4 great-grandchildren. In addition to her husband, Janet was preceded in death by her beloved son, David Garman, and by her sister, Doris Herr. At Janet's request, there was a graveside memorial service for family and friends held at Conestoga Memorial Park, Garden of the Four Gospels section on March 19th. Janet's family are grateful for the compassionate care provided to her by the Landis Homes Mannheim House caregivers and staff. We remember Janet Garman and all who love her. In closing, I will read a prayer for guidance until our journey's end. O Lord, support us all the day long of this troubled life until the shadows lengthen and the evening comes and the busy world is hushed and the fever of life is over and our work is done. Then, Lord, in thy mercy, grant safe lodging, a holy rest, and peace at last for Lowell Detweiler, Joyce Owens, Ruth Gamber, Jack Raybold, and Janet Garman. Amen.